Welcome to the demolishment of the up-accelerating Earth. As far as you know, or I don't know if you've been under a rock, but there have been claims lately by flat earthers and globe earthers that Earth is the accelerator frame. Now we know the accelerator of Earth is only flat Earth society as it hinges on general relativity. The issue is that this is demonstrably false. We have tried to explain this countless times, and yet all we get is ad homs and calling us people retarded. Now, let's cue up an actual demonstration showing how the upward acceleration is just demonstrably false. Let's do this.
The onboard video first in real time. Here on the left we've got the altitude plot in relation to the video.
What did you guys just see? I hope you were paying attention with the canisters. But let's go a bit further where the guy actually talks it through. First play it through with normal speed and then a bit slower. So you would hear what the guy says. And while he's saying this, look at the canisters. Pay attention now.
Let's look at the right tube in slow motion. At launch and during acceleration, the water is held at the bottom, but as soon as the rocket stops producing thrust at burnout, the rocket is effectively in 0G except for the air drag on the rocket, which creates a negative acceleration and the water starts to move up. At this point, the rocket is still heading upwards, as you can see by the horizon.
Did you hear that? Let's go back and do that again, but this time I'm going to make it a touch slower. Speed 0 times 5. Pay attention what is being said.
Look at the tube in slow motion. At launch and during acceleration, the water is held at the bottom, but as soon as the rocket stops producing thrust at burnout, the rocket is effectively in 0G except for the air drag on the rocket, which creates a negative acceleration and the water starts to move up. At this point, the rocket is still heading upwards, as you can see by the horizon.
What did we get from that? Well, simple. As soon as it reached burnout, this is when the rocket had no thrust anymore. It was now in so-called freefall. It was still accelerating up, just at a different magnitude. So in other words, it was starting to decelerate, and thus gave the momentum a switch. So what did we see? We saw with the launch, the fluids were based in the densities like we do see, like normal. Denser bottom, less dense at the top. Now as it starts accelerating up, look what's happening. It's pushed down. While it's still accelerating up, the bubbles went up. So the bubbles went up while we're having the density. So therefore, it still has the normal density variations that we see. The issue comes now. As soon as the burnout finishes, there's no more thrust. It is still climbing in altitude. The thing is, it started having a deceleration for an instant. The issue is it started having a deceleration for an instant because there's no more thrust, but it's still raising in altitude. So in other words, it's raising away from the accelerator of Earth. And what do we see? Pay attention now. Remember, it's still accelerating away from the rising Earth. Uh-oh. It is a 180 from what is said to happen if the Earth is coming towards the liquid. What is the claim? Simple. The reason we see pressure gradients on the globe side would be gravity, the bending of pseudo space-time. So therefore the effect gives us that it's literally the ground moving up, giving the effect that the object is falling, so therefore it's at net zero. And the accelerating up Earth, flat Earth society nonsense, it's the ground doing the same thing, rising up literally as the object is only appearing to fall. And this is why we see the density gradients. Now, what is the issue here? I paused it right here. It is now inverted due to the burst of deceleration. But note, it is still raising in altitude, so therefore accelerating away from the accelerating Earth, to put it. Why is it still inverted as it goes up? Flat Earth Society pushes. Uh-oh. So it raised in altitude and showing it is a 180-degree inversion. So therefore, disproving your claim that the accelerator frame causes the density gradients. Welcome to the real flat Earth. Thank you.